All right. All right. All right. Give me just a second here, guys. All right. What's up, fam? Welcome to this week's Agent Power Hour. And boy, do we have a lineup that's straight fire. Leading the charge, we've got Jim Hund, the AI and SEO guru. This dude's digital magic is going to light up your listings like the 4th of July. Next in the arena is Kyle Powers, the man, the legend, and this guy tackles the game like a boss. He's not just playing, he's dominating. Then we've got Peter Tulin, aka Mr. Google Business. This guy turns complex systems into smooth running engines with his guru level skills. And then yours truly, Adam Gillespie, your AI and CRM go-to guy, ready to guide you through the tech wilderness to real estate supremacy. All right, now hold on to your hats, because today on Agent Power Hour, we're about to get schooled by the one and only Joe Turco. This guy's not just a real estate mogul, he's a hardcore legend turned into property prodigy. Joe's not your run-of-the-mill agent. He's lived the tour life, been in the pit, and now he's channeling that same raw energy into dominating the real estate scene. So if you think selling homes is just business, not for Joe. It's about that hardcore passion, building legacies, and turning every deal into a mosh pit of success. Joe's here to prove that whether it's on stage or in the market, the same rules apply. Be real, be relentless, and always leave a mark. So get ready to dive into the pit of real estate with a guy who's seen it all, done it all, and is now leading the charge in the industry. Welcome, Joe. What is going on, brother?
Hey, I love it. I love the intro. I guess I gotta save the crowd killing for another day, head walking for another journey, and let's get into some fun. Because guys, like, have you heard some of the great news? Have you heard what ChatGPT is releasing soon? We really thought that Apple was getting ahead of the game when they released their App Store. Uh, Warning, ChatGPT releasing their own store pretty soon. Warning, things are about to change. So, I hope you guys are buckled up because everything is changing right now and it is intense.
Agreed, man. Agreed. With the new GPT store coming out, like you said, have you started working on your own GPTs yet?
I mean, I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but let's just say every great realtor should have something to sell.
100%, 100%, man. Excellent. Well, yeah, I'm really glad that you came on the show because you inspired me a lot when we were in that Rockstar training together, and you had just started showing us, a pretty, advanced level of AI interaction, and it really brought me to the next level of my game as well. When we got done with that call, I went on and I spent like a week with GPT in one conversation, just dialing in my goals, where I come from. And I literally created a clone of myself to where when I want ChatGPT to create me content now, it creates it the way that I would want it created. And it sounds like me. So eternally grateful for that. But would you mind kind of breaking down to all of us how you even got there? What was your journey like?
Yeah, man. So, especially with ChatGPT, my big thing was always, hey, I'm an efficiency guy. I'm a process guy. How can we make this smarter, better, and faster? Well, I don't want to always have to continually tell it what to do. I don't always want to have to be the person nagging. I'm not your wife, and I don't expect to be ChatGPT's wife. It's not that attractive. So, at the end of the day, what I was looking for was, how can I make it better, faster, and more like me? Because obviously that's the upgrade we're looking for, is everybody wants to be like Joe because everybody knows Joe. So what I said was, how can I prompt it to ask me enough questions where it will think like me, where it will have a diverse and broad content base of how I think, what my opinions are, what my background knowledge is, so that when I'm asking it to perform a task, it will have basically this profile that it can draw from, where I can store it. And at any time with anybody's chat GPT, I have this one file that it spit out, this one prompt where I plug it back in. And then there I am. I have my assistant that is me, ready, able, and willing, and actually excited about creating content. And the big thing that I think most people sleep on is the fact that they're looking at ChatGPT and a lot of the other AI technologies as these dopamine hits. They're looking for these instant gratification things and not as a tool to put work into. They're looking at it as, oh, hey, I want something easy that fixes this so I don't have to work, as opposed to, hey, if I put like an hour or two, or God forbid, 4 hours into this, if I answer 30, 40, or 50 intense questions with purpose, with detail, if I give like a couple sentences or a paragraph for each of these answers, the type of persona that this AI can generate and the level of just accuracy it can mimic what you are, it develops, is just, it's breathtaking. So, guys, if you're listening to this right now, drop the vanity, drop the bullshit. If you're really going to work, let's go. Invest some time into yourself by digging in and getting a quality product. Because, like, with some of these prompts, you put in the time, what you're going to get is you front loaded the effort and you're going to save hours and days and weeks over the course of the next couple of years. And that's the big thing. Sorry, I know I get a little charged up about this specifically, but dude, like I look at realtors and I see 90% slack asses.
100%, man. That's like one of the biggest reasons why I'm so glad that you came on, because you were the one that really changed my perspective on that aspect, right? And as soon as that perspective switch happened, it was like the world was my oyster with this thing. And constantly now I've got, fellow realtors and even people outside of the business like, hey, how did you get your chat GPT to do that? So I really think that, like you said, drilling it in and getting it to learn everything about you that you can possibly get it in there, it helps with so many layers of it. Like, when I'm writing blog content or writing, scripting for my next video, it just has these subtle ways of throwing my past into it and really helping niche down to where, I'm attracting the people that can relate to me. And it's so much more powerful than just throwing it in, getting a listing description and putting some AI generated content that's, completely detectable on your Facebook page or on your blog. Like that's one of the things with like keeping current matters, they give you that blog
Yep.
every day. I threw that into undetectable the other day, just one of their random blogs, and it was 100% AI generated. When I took that same blog and put it into my chat GPT and said, hey, just rewrite this blog in my style, and then I throw it into undetectable, it's 100% human content. Like
Yep.
it's
And
it's
here's the best thing, man. How many people take their cookie cutter generic CRM action plans, follow-up plans, and they just let it ride? And they're like, oh, cool. I have follow-up boss. I have Sierra Interactive. I have KV Core. I have you name it. And oh, it has something out of the box. And I'm going to be a lazy piece of shit. And I'm not going to change a single thing. I see a bunch of people here with me hanging out. How many of you have gone through and changed every single plan in your CRM to sound like you? Oh, wait, I see two hands up. Oh,
You said
oh,
everyone. I've only done about half of them so far.
okay. All right. All right. All right. So you get partial credit for, not being a deadbeat. But that's the thing. Think about it, guys. Consumers are not idiots. Consumers want you. They want amazing things. And what's better than you? Well, most of the time it's AI and it's me. So, like, why not have the best of both? Why not spend that little bit of time? And here's the even funnier thing, like, dude, Adam, do you happen to have a VA, a virtual assistant?
Yeah, I call it chat
Okay.
GPT.
Well, I mean, okay, I appreciate that, but I mean, on top of Chat GPT.
No.
Okay, well, let's say hypothetically you do. Hypothetically, could you train that VA to use the profile to update all of those action plans in the CRM for you? Now, have we not just doubled down on efficiency?
Right.
Sounds like the VA is using your profile to create and update all of those tedious action plans, and it's going to sound just like you. And all you have to do is do a spot quality control check at the end of it. And instead of hours of updating, you're out there prospecting, you're working with clients, you're creating content. And I think you just took back a minimum of a workday. How much value can you get out of that, either through putting in the work, prospecting, doing one of my favorite things. Adam, I know you're terrified of it, probably still, stopwatch time. We can talk about that later. Or, God forbid, take a day off because you just bought it back. You got that efficient through the use of ChatGPT.
Yeah, now you make me want to go hire a VA. Because I literally was setting because I was the follow-up boss user and I'm not affiliated with Zillow, so I've made the transition over to Chime, which it's a better program anyways, right? It's just everything's got their hiccups. But I was setting up my auto texting campaign for my Facebook buyer leads that come through. And it took me about 45 minutes to get everything set up in the drip and make sure that I'm putting the text out at certain times of the day. I hate it when the auto text always fires out at 9:30 in the morning. So I mix them up, give it some odd times, and had ChatGPT write everything, and I got 109-day auto text campaign that I don't even have to touch. Like now that it's set and going, any lead that comes in through this certain ad on Facebook is going to get this automatic plan applied to it, and it's written out just like me. I didn't copy off of another plan. I just told ChatGPT. Well, first off, ChatGPT wrote the ad for me, right? So it already knows what direction I'm going, and then I'm like, okay, ChatGPT, now I'd like to create this into an auto texting campaign and drip with emails mixed in, and let's run it for a year and a half. And at the end of the day, I ended up with 109 days worth. But I was able to pick and choose through that stuff, and it all already sounded like me. So now I've got this dope ass campaign set up. And if I'm going to continue to get these leads for $6-7 a pop, then I don't even have to call them. Like, I know that's against the realtor code of calling the leads, but like, my text campaign is going to set that appointment for me, especially if they're serious. So yeah, now, like I said, you maybe want to hire a VA now, because I could have saved all that time, but no, I was down there diving into it neck deep yesterday. So
Well, hey, if you love it, that's the best part of the job. Never give up a task that you love as an agent. That's the pro tip from the coach today, because like if you are getting up and you're only doing things you love, man, it's a good day.
So Joe,
yeah.
on the topic of VAs, I just fired mine recently. So I'm in the market for a new VA. What do you recommend to find a VA that is competent?
So what I would recommend is through networking. There's a lot of companies out there, and I'm not going to name names, but there are some of them that kind of get propped up by people, which I would not recommend. They're not people that you want to be associating with, because remember, a lot of these companies, especially the VA companies, they're almost like a cell phone company. They expect the VA to break, and then they're going to get returned, and you're going to get a nice new shiny VA and pay them more money. Well, what happens with that broken phone or that broken VA? Well, the company goes in, it was just returned to them for pennies on the dollar. They're going to fix it and they're going to sell it to somebody else, probably at a discount. But with VAs, what is happening? Oh, well, they're claiming that they have more experience and they have more needs in terms of compensation because of their time spent working for guess who? You. So, what I would say is be very diligent about any of the quote unquote big companies that claim to place you with VAs, and instead go into some of the different realtor groups and ask for a person to refer you, or even better, if someone has a great VA, ask them if their VA would be able to personally refer you another VA. I have gotten some of the best virtual assistants, not from a company, not from another agent, but from a referral from another VA who knew another quality person that was, again, a colleague of theirs located where they were, who does incredible work that I would have never had any chance of reaching. Again, we're agents. Do what we do best: network and talk to people. Don't hit that easy button. Don't take that lazy way out and trying to pay a company to do what you can do in a couple of minutes.
I love it. Yeah, that's great advice.
Just trying to lay a little love on you, man. Gotta help when I can, you know? All right. So, guys, I mean, I know we talked a little bit about it earlier, but are we going to talk about how everybody's getting it wrong? How everybody's kind of taking these little bite-sized bits of ChatGPT, how they're getting those dopamine hits of, oh, hey, I'm gonna have the snack, but I'm not gonna have the full meal, and why every agent is basically getting the use case of ChatGPT wrong? Or should we talk about something else? I mean, I am from
That's
Boston, so like the
that's
Celtics are pretty good.
no, that's the question I had on my mind. So
Okay.
but
All right. So, I mean, here's the thing, guys. There are two specific things. So I'm going to let it be, maybe you guys vote between yourselves which one you want to get into first. One is actually most people aren't writers. Most people have no idea whether it's marketing, whether it's just writing in general, or how to, tell a story or have a progression or a story arc of going from point A to B to C to D and to make it interesting. So we can talk about how to make your content less generic, because what most realtors are doing right now at a micro level is, hey, ChatGPT, make a Facebook post for me, make an Instagram post. And guess what they do? They let it just rip. They don't give any type of structure or framework around how the story is told. So what do you get? You get the same ABC story. When I see ABC on every single post from any business, whether it's an agent, whether it's an ancillary business partner to an agent, I think, wow, they're dog shit. I will never use them. If they don't have the just capability of doing something interesting in their marketing to get business, how are they going to sell some of the best product that I have in high-end real estate? Because I mean, Boston's expensive. So there's that. And then we can also talk about how most people are doing one post at a time instead of doing macro level content. How great would it be to have an entire year's worth of content created in a day, set up on scheduling programs where, oh, hey, you have one topic that builds on itself, where people are almost like watching a television show where every Monday you're tuning into new buyer tips. And it's just this great thing because they know that that post is going to come out on that Monday, and it's going to be a sequence. It's going to be segments. It's going to have that interest because it's going to speak to that segment. Oh, and it's on autopilot because you did it for one day and then you have 52 weeks of it set up and you forget about it. Because, hey, how many of you guys are actually consistent with all of your posting on socials? Wow, one hand. That's awesome. How, brother, I'm going to pick on you, Kyle. Are you doing it across LinkedIn, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, all the other ones? Is it for all of them?
In Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and trying to get better and inconsistent in LinkedIn.
I love it. See, at least he owned up to trying. How much better would it be for you if you knew that it was firing off and that anything that you did was just going to be gravy added on top?
Yeah, no, I mean, my biggest problem is what you were saying. Like I just do one at a time post, right? Like I'll do my YouTube, which I'm consistent on, Opus clip it up, and then I'm waiting for that. But I guess my question to you, because a lot of my stuff is reels, and with like trending audio, I found that I can't use these schedulers because you can't pick the reel song.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm like, well, what's the point of scheduling? I have to go back into everything anyways, find the trending audio, put it in, done. Not sure how, maybe I could do a case study if I just don't do anything for like about, a month of just post it all, no, just have my vocals in the background. But that's what I don't know why no one's been able to figure that out yet. But no scheduler has it where on TikTok or wherever you can pair your trending audio, because all my stuff is short form, unless you found a hack for that.
I wouldn't call it a hack. I would say sometimes we just have to look at what the problem is and say, are we trying to fix it or are we trying to force it through in what we feel like is what it should be? So what I would say is from what you've described, you're trying to make it what you want instead of just looking for an easy solution. So
Sure.
my thought process would be a lot of these scheduling programs like later.com, free plug for you. Thanks, Later. Instead of it just posting, it will send a notification. Hey, do you want to post this? Now, let me ask you, do you have to be the one that posts it?
No.
So could you hire someone to pick a trending audio and post it after you've set up all the stuff on the schedule?
Yeah, I totally could do that. I'm in a similar boat with James. I've fired like 4 of my previous VAs. My best one, she got pregnant and she was absolutely amazing, but I've kind of gotten over the VA thing and doing it on my own.
If she's pregnant, can she spend 1 minute every once in a while?
Yeah, I could definitely ask her, but what I found out was she was working with a big team in North Carolina and they got mad at her because they found out, I guess, she was working for me and I was unaware that she was working for somebody else. That's what I always find with the VAs is the problem, and they pick who they like better.
So do you have a little sister, a cousin, a nephew, a friend with a 15-year-old that you can say, hey, you're pretty good at social media. Can you do this? And I'll give you $15 a week.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Right. And I mean,
I
again,
like that idea. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, guys, this is where sometimes as agents, we think that we have to make something complex to make it work, to make it better, to make it bigger than it is. Now, here's the thing. Quick vote. Which one should I talk about? You want to talk about the big macro, or do we want to talk about storytelling frameworks? We can do both if we can go fast enough.
Storytelling
say
frameworks.
both.
Both if we can.
All right, which one? Come on, fight it out.
Storytelling frameworks.
Okay. All right. So Peter, you're Canadian, you're polite, so you're going to tell me which of the contestants won and which one we're going with.
I heard storytelling twice, so I'm going with that one.
All right. So I'm going to, because I actually came prepared, I'm going to share my screen if you'll allow it. And
It sounds like we might need 2 shows though.
I mean, hey, maybe I might be convinced to come back. So here we go, guys.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
Look at this. We have already set up prompts and frameworks that you can use in storytelling. And it's going to give you a significantly different type of post, where if you're looking for a features, advantages, and benefit framework, for example, you're going to be using this to have it where it's going to write copy that highlights the features of a product or a service and clearly explains how these advantages can be helpful to whoever the ideal person is, and elaborate on these benefits of how our product and or service can positively impact that reader. Now, guys, does that sound like pretty simple, easy thing? Like, hey, how can our luxury real estate listing services help those out of town people that are looking to buy a second home in beautiful, warm northern Canada? I mean, it's enticing. It has a lot of great things. I know that with especially the Canadian Navy, all those canoes and slingshots, it is well protected. It is something that we definitely want to be looking at and investing in. So why not make it interesting? Why not make it where we have a post specific to that? Now, the next post we have, we don't want it looking like the same thing. Maybe it's where we want to have an urgency patience framework. Maybe we want to use that where that ideal customer persona, and hey guys, remember how we made our own personas? Maybe you can also make your ideal personas in that exact same way, just kind of hint, word to the wise, where you're going to encourage them to take action, to create a sense of urgency with the reader to act now, but also remind them that using our service or product will bring them long-term benefits that are worth waiting for. Include the talking points such as, and then your unique selling point, a pain point for them, because we always want to establish a reason why they're having pain, as well as what is the desired action. Now, guys, do you think that having all of those elements is going to be very different than the last post that we had? Do you think people are going to get bored reading your shit if all of a sudden it's ABC, ABC, ABC? These are all stories. And here's 6 of them. And guess what? I'm not done. I got more for you. There's door number 2. So I hope you guys are screenshotting this right now. I hope you're frantically looking at these and saying, oh God, it's going to be worth typing these out. I wish I had a VA to type it for me.
Hey, Joe, question for you. If
Yeah.
you're saying wanting to put towards like a year's worth of blog content, will you just say whatever, you use the 6 of these, say, give me 10 blogs with this style, 10 blogs with this style, 10 blogs with this style, and then just mix it in?
So what I will do is I will answer that question when I go to the next part.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
basically what I will do is use the other prompt I use and I will segment it out. So I will have it come in, I will do a main overarch, and then I will see the ones within it that I look and say, I think those are weak. And then I will use these to rewrite them. Or alternatively, instead of doing like 52 at a time, I'll break it out into sections of 10. So you use things like the picture, promise, prove, push framework, where you're going to have something that gets attention. Now, these are great for Instagram. These are great for Reels. Because remember, especially with Reels now, especially with the adoption of the 4 to 7 second, where you're reading that long diatribe of like 30 pages worth of shit that they're finally telling you in the last sentence of what it's actually about. So it racks up those 30 to 80 views by the time you're done reading, because like, let's be honest, most agents have like a 4th grade reading level. That's what this is perfect for, because what's it going to do? It's going to get the attention and create desire for your product and service with that ideal person, but it's going to describe how our product will deliver on its promise. It's going to provide testimonials to back up that promise, and it's going to give you a little push to encourage the reader to take action. So again, it's all of these different ways of storytelling. It's the difference about, you know, how Homer wrote about Odysseus compared to how the vampires in Twilight are written about. A little bit different story. Not quite the hero's journey in Twilight, my opinion. So we have a couple of these. Now, why not continue to make it fun and just have some more? Now, can you guys tell that I really love writing and I might have a writing degree, might have worked in the footwear industry for a decade, might have a really good marketing background, and know that you have to be diverse. You have to have a lot of different options. But that's the thing. Maybe having a 5 basic objections framework of how you're going to tell a story with this post.
I'm sorry, Joe. This is really great, but I'm a little confused. So if I look down at like the solution savings social proof framework, middle on the bottom there, did I already tell ChatGPT what a social savings social proof framework is?
So what you basically do is I have these where I have the name of the prompt above the actual prompt. If you just copy the prompt that's below it, and then you fill in where there's brackets for what you actually need while maintaining the brackets, it will give you exactly what is in this. So what this is basically, think of this as an insert into your greater prompt. So if you're saying, write a Facebook post regarding this, the context is this, and put context in brackets. and then put what it is below it. And then below that, you take one of these, for example, the one that you said, and you write a copy using the solution saving social proof and the whole thing. And you just copy and paste that in. And then within the brackets that I have there, you update what the product or service is. So it might be luxury real estate, it might be listing services, it might be AI course, it might be, dirty hardcore band stuff. It might be, probably with this group, hymns for men. There's a lot of different things that it probably will be. And then you basically send it through and it will give you the spit out. Because remember, AI technology, specifically ChatGPT, are basically logic statements. It's computer programming. So it's looking for if this, then that. It's looking for a sequence of exactly what to do, how to do it, where to do it, and when. So if you tell it that you're going to write a post, the context of the post, and how you want the post written or the style, it's perfect. Now, if you want to then go deeper into it and say, after you took this blurb and say, well, Joe, I really want this to sound like, every generic realtor out there. So I'm going to say, write in the voice of Gary V and just, make it where it's completely garbage. You can do that another line down. I mean, if you want to be interesting, you can find someone else to idolize. I mean, Gary's a good guy, but like realtors just go a little too far. I guess the new one is, my boy Alex, but also Ed Milet. I mean, there's a lot of people that we can chase the tails of, or we can be interesting and we can think for ourselves and use our own tone.
Okay, thank you very much. Going back on what you're just talking about, well, from the beginning standpoint, you said like put it in your style. So in the beginning, you're talking about creating our own personas, but I don't know the list of questions I should be asking in order for it to figure out who I am. But how is that different than the custom instructions that are in ChatGPT 4?
So that's fun. Hold on. I believe, it's funny how I have a whole presentation on that, huh?
That's great.
Oh, I think that prompt down in blue at the bottom. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to write some copy for my business. This will include blog content, Instagram posts, sales, emails, and scripts I can read in order to make YouTube videos. Before we begin, I want you to fully understand my business and customers for look at brackets. So it could be real estate business. It could be my cute cat blog. It could be my Canadians that really want to be tan blog business. I mean, so many different things. Don't worry. Eventually, I'll stop picking on Canada and pick on Colorado, but people that live there are obviously just sad as it is, and I don't really want to kick puppies. So I'm trying to save that to the end. We even tell it where it is in Boston, Massachusetts. Ask me at least 30 questions about business, customers, audience, and anything else you need in order to complete the task to the best of your ability. If you just put that in, it's going to spit out 30 questions. You want to have a lot of fun? Ask it to ask you more than 30.
Thank you. That's great.
You're welcome. And then what it spits out after you put in the answers, and pro tip, do not put in the answers one by one. Put in all the answers all at once so it just compiles. Otherwise, it can get a little funky because ChatGPT gets confused sometimes. You just copy and paste that and save it in a file. And whenever you input that into any ChatGPT, it will instantly be you. So if you send it to a VA, you send it to a friend, you send it to literally anyone, they have a clone of you.
I got a question for you, Joe.
Yeah.
And your Canadian digs hurt a little bit more because I'm a Canucks fan, so that's long stemming from.
It's called Boston Beatdown for a reason. When you guys visit, you guys go back with, two of the answers you should have had, black eyes.
Exactly. In terms of tone, and James is awesome because he showed us just how to show or role play with ChatGPT, and I'm playing around with that. Taking some of my favorite objection handlers, starting to record their objections audio, putting it into ChatGPT, and then would you recommend, instead of exactly sounding like them, then taking that audio of those sales trainers and then saying, I want to objection handle according to my special instructions? Do you think that is a good way of being able to start, training yourself in the ways of these sales trainers? Or do you not, like you said with Gary Vee and all these, just keep it to yourself?
No, what I would do is I would ask ChatGPT to analyze this for tone, for style, for how they lead people through a conversation and how they answer questions, and to provide you with a detailed analysis and output that you can use in ChatGPT to create similar types of responses based on the structure that they use.
Okay.
Because if you do that, what it does is it analyzes the actual structure of their responses, the actual way they're using the language, the actual arcs of their questions, so that if it's creating this path through the forest, it recognizes that it can create those same paths, but then do it in your voice.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, of course.
Badass.
Joe,
Yeah.
which
Hey,
one
Joe,
did
I
you-
have a question for you if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Do appreciate all this energy and effort that you put into this, and this is something that's we can benefit from greatly. So thank you for this. But it's more towards what Kerry was talking about. When I'm using ChatGPT, I'll start it out by saying, create for me one paragraph for a post, let's say. But then I see that you have quotation marks and the word framework in there. And is that, this almost looks kind of a hybrid of computer language. And I know you just made mention of that. I'm not trying to, say I didn't hear it, but is this, the way this is written here, is this more interactive with ChatGPT, or is this just the style that you've come to appreciate and use, being the linguist that you are? What I've been doing is asking it something, putting in a bar post, and then putting in the genre, like I want to make it compelling, and then I'll put in another bar post, and I'll say to an audience that's 50, and then I'll put my content in there that I wanted to rewrite. Is that kind of what we're doing here, but you're doing more having them create the content?
Yeah, this is for having ChatGPT completely create the content. So like this is where I'm basically being very concise and detailed in what I want and how I want it to be structured, so that I get exactly, predictably, the format of exactly what I want, so that I can, with consistency, know that all I have to do is change either the topic, the subject, the keywords, as well as potentially add in negative keywords or things to exclude, so that I can very quickly and in a refined manner go through, pop in a couple things, and work from a time standpoint more effectively. Because every time you sit and go through there, Don, and kind of go through that process, you're honestly wasting time, because instead of kind of doing it once where it takes longer to get like a very good prompt and then saving the prompt and then just kind of using it almost as like a Mad Lib where you're just kind of filling in what you need, you're doing the work again as a process instead of having the AI do the heavy lifting for you. So what I would strongly urge you, in the most respectful and nice way, is to front load a little of the work to save you the time over the long run.
And then Adam, will we eventually have a class here that we start applying all this information and create something in KV Core, and so how to link this out?
I mean, there's all kinds of opportunity. I'm sure we can talk with Adam and Kyle and all the different guys and find some opportunity to make sure that you guys get exactly what you need. I'm very confident in that.
Great,
But
thank you. I appreciate this.
of course, I know we had another one question, so why don't we go on that? I think it was actually Peter. Was that right?
I had one.
Oh, James, let's go.
Yeah. So with these frameworks and stuff, are you taking these now with the new update on ChatGPT, the GPT Builder? Or are you like putting it in and having like a framework GPT and like, hey, ask me which framework before we get started to use, and put the prompts in there to save time? Or
I haven't gotten to that yet, if I'm just brutally honest. I'm still kind of like working through that. So you're kind of like catching me in between the update and when I set this up.
I just got my update less than 24 hours ago. So I actually just, that's why. So I just put them in GPT Builder and stuff. And so I was just wondering if you've that, or kind of what with this new ChatGPT, like, how you're going to utilize it. Like, because I was thinking like, okay, I can have a GPT Builder for like when I'm doing video scripts for buyers and stuff, and like exactly how I want it, like, when the call to action, when I want that to happen, and how long I want it. And then so I don't have to rewrite stuff over and over again. So that's what I was kind of thinking. But of course, it's really new. I don't know what you brainstormed ideas and.
Well, that's kind of where my mind is going with it, is to have it set up like that, as well as to have basically, especially for like the YouTube stuff, where it's going to be like scripts for exactly that, but also scripts with different storytelling elements. So I can go in and I can have basically the same script, and I can either do one of two things. I can get the baseline, have it done, like it, and then also plug it through 3 or 4 different other ones, go out and record it, see which one hits best after it's recorded, because it doesn't take that long to record a couple different versions of the segments. And if I'm like, oh, wow, this one really hits with this storytelling method and this tone, I'm going to go with this one. And it only took me an extra 5 minutes of worth of work. So that's kind of where my mind is going for it, as well as like what you were saying, to just have it be where it's like drop downs instead of me having to like constantly refer back to my files and copy and paste. But before we kind of deep dive on that, because I do want to be conscious of time, let's kind of go have fun real quick with building out all of those fun scheduled posts. So I color coded this because I wanted to make sure that specific things could stand out. And this is kind of like just an example one. And I put in a picture of the output just so you could see kind of like what it's going. And again, always remember to like play with your prompts a little bit. So like if you're not doing an Instagram one, tweak it. If you're going to do something for potentially like YouTube videos, which I strongly suggest because this is a good content builder, use that. But let's take a look. I'm going to read it out for anyone that's listening, because it's simple, it's easy, and it's going to build in all the things that you want to talk about in a way that's going to be interesting. So the prompt is, as a real estate social media and sales expert, your role is to act as a consultant. Very important. You have a history of helping people understand how to scale their businesses and become leaders in the real estate market through effective social media posts, catering to everyone from first-time homebuyers to luxury sellers. Your task is to create a content plan consisting of 52 topics that can be posted consecutively every week. Each topic must incorporate at least one of the following, and then within brackets: luxury home, Boston, waterfront properties, Boston Seaport, Boston celebrity homes, South End Boston, North End of Boston, or off market. First, again, we're talking about sequencing. Provide a list of all 52 topics. Then craft Instagram post hooks for each topic with attention-grabbing opening hooks and micro hooks to maintain reader engagement. Generate content that challenges readers' assumptions and seeks out provocative angles that defy expectations and break the mold. Include a strong call to action in each post, prompting the reader to text the phone number. Always ask questions before providing answers to better zone in on what the question is seeking. Now, that's a hell of a long prompt, right? Couple of key things. One, it's saying 52 topics, and it's telling it the first thing it's going to do, provide the topic list. Second, incorporate at least one of the following for those topics. Now, that's your list. You can just punch in whatever you want. So like Adam, being in Colorado, is going to put in dirty hippies, weed, hair products for men, and how to get lost in the desert. And it's going to have so many different topics that are going to really call to all the people that live in Boulder. And it's going to be perfect. You might put in Red Rocks, Garden of the Gods, and those things can come up too. And it's going to give you those topics. Then, it says craft Instagram post hooks. You can take out Instagram. You can put in Facebook. You can put in YouTube. You can put in LinkedIn, any of the different ones. Generate content that challenges readers' assumptions, all of those different things. The other fun part is where it says each topic must incorporate in the green. You can also you can add a line. I don't have it in the example, but you can. Each topic must not include, and then put brackets of negative topics that you don't want included. But you can see the spit out. You can see how it builds an entire content list that if you're looking at it from the standpoint of like, wow, I'm watching this for an entire year, of course I'm going to stay tuned in, because like it's things that build on top of each other brick by brick, and it creates this wall or this fortress around the person where all they can see is how interesting you are, and they know that you are specific. Most realtors have ADHD with their marketing. They talk about every single topic that is the topic of that week. Any agent that I see posting about a lawsuit on their wall, I know they're a trash realtor, because instead of marketing to their base, they're talking to other realtors. Uh-oh, I saw some unhappy faces on that one. So let's go through some of the topics. The luxury home market in Boston, week 1. Great. Navigating Boston's waterfront properties, week 2. Week 3, exploring off-market opportunities in Boston. Week 4, the prestigious Boston Seaport District. Okay, in the first month of seeing those posts, do you immediately know what I specialize in? Would it be easy to say that like, oh, wow, I know Joe's area?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, guys, do you want to speak to different audiences? How many days a week do you have?
7.
Luxury Mondays, new agent tip Tuesdays, downsizing senior Wednesdays, relocating Thursdays. Now, are people going to see a lot of posts? Sure. But just like any broadcast system, they're only going to tune into the ones that they care about. I see a little bit of quiet. That's either
Sorry, I have one question. In terms of this, for agent attraction wise, would you recommend throwing in something for realtors if that is something that you're wanting to do within this plan? Like you said, each day something different, maybe whatever Wednesday is your agent attraction tip or whatever it is. Because I don't know if this is actually what you use in your business, but do you use your social for agent attraction at all within your posting?
Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've blended all into one, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the big thing, Kyle, to kind of like circle back. I would say it depends on your style, depends on your flow. I would say, Talk Shit Wednesdays are awesome, where you basically just say, hey, you want to know what? Most realtors are trash. If you don't want to be, join me.
Straightforward.
I mean, there's a reason 90% fail in the first year. There's a reason 85% don't follow up with their past clients. There's a reason why, we are growing, why we have agents that are rising in their production. And there's a reason why, as much as people don't like when I say it, if you're having the time to bitch, moan, and complain about lawsuits that will never affect you within the next 3 to 5 years, then you are not doing any significant amount of business. It means you're either over leveraged, twiddling your thumbs, not leading your team like you should be, or it means you're an agent that's not doing business and is waiting for something to come to you and then complaining when you're down 50% because it's a quote unquote bad market, which just means, quite frankly, that what's happened is you're a one skill realtor that has no idea how much money you can make in any different environment, because you should be the Swiss Army knife of skills. And when a market changes, all you should be doing is making more money, because all of the agents that don't know how to work in that market should be falling behind, and you should just be crushing it. So yeah, do agent attraction with it. Recruit your face off. Ask people, hey, how's your business doing? Set it on autopilot. Great thing is you can make one of those topics be business planning your real estate team, growing a real estate business, attracting agents, and have it be topics about recruiting, where you recruit people that want to recruit. I mean, the best thing that you can honestly do is just make sure to hug your kids. And that's why Adam gets a high five.
Sweet. Yeah. And one thing too, I want to add to that, Kyle, is that with you being short form, and I do mostly short form as well, I wouldn't be so hesitant on mixing that up as I would be if we were on YouTube, right? Because YouTube has kind of a different vibe with it, where a lot of people are tuning in to watch specific content. So I do believe that having separate channels on YouTube for agent attraction versus production is good. But when it comes to short form on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff, I think you can really just bash it all out there, because it's more of a personal level anyways. And like Joe said, they're just going to tune into what they want to tune into anyways.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
Joe,
I'll go ahead, James.
I was wondering if you could go through each one of the frameworks and which one would be like best for each like platform, or what we could use them for.
So I can, but I will tell you there is no best for platforms. This is storytelling. This is not in any way based on a platform. So,
or I guess kind of what like media, like they're like blog posts, like a short, or YouTube.
James, I'm gonna pick on you, and I apologize, but I don't apologize. You're overthinking it, because here's the thing: there is no best. You want to know what the best is? A good story.
Let me rephrase that question. Which is your go-to that you do most use to write most of your content?
All of the ones that I'm showing you.
Okay.
So here's the big thing too. You want to know what's a fun exercise when you're thinking of like keywords and topics and things to put into some of these? And yeah, some of it's, hey, you're doing work to do work, but ask ChatGPT, what are some of the most common and generic topics that realtors use for social media? You get that list from it, and then you use it in the negative list, which then forces ChatGPT to not give you generic and boring things. Or you do things like this, where you want to challenge the conventional narrative. Ask for an example of what contradicts, most especially, the dominant narrative. Generate content that challenges readers' assumptions. Seek out provocative angles that defy expectations and break the mold. So by adding in those things, as well as negative topic lists that exclude those things from being talked about, well, you get things like, oh, luxury real estate. You're not just talking about price points anymore. All of a sudden, you're talking about luxury listings in areas that are based on experiential real estate. Sounds a little interesting and cool, right?
Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
people have read articles about that? Think that might rank a little easier, a little better, and when people find it, they'll be a little bit more engaged because they're like, wow, this isn't cookie cutter.
Oh, I love that, because that's the thing that ChatGPT really likes doing, is just like, oh yeah, this can help your listings. DALL-E 3 can make your listings pop. I'm like, no, that's not what we use DALL-E 3 for.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is like, you know, kind of like Don had asked before, like, oh, hey, yeah, this sounds like a lot of like computer talk, or like setting it up in a specific way. And like, Don, I agree with you, it is, but it's because it's using the language the computer program understands to get the results that we want. So that's like the big push, is start thinking, okay, if this is basically a giant coin sorter, and that's my favorite analogy because it basically is you have this jar of ideas that are coins, and you want it to be where, you know, in my case, sorry, Canadians, pennies, dimes, nickels, quarters all go into the right place and they're all in a neat stack.
You forgot toonies and loonies, man.
Oh, dude, like, don't make me, you know, shake things up and make Michael J. Fox jokes. It's not time yet.
Not time.
What's
Um,
that?
I know I'm mean. But that's the thing, is like, you're taking these ideas, and if you put them in the right way, ChatGPT will sort them for you and it'll come out clean. So that's kind of where, like, I want to emphasize, just think of things like, okay, I want to program a robot, because that's what you're doing. It's not necessarily exactly the pros that you're looking for. But going to the base of the question, I love the pastor framework, where it's, you know, addressing pain points of your ideal customer, and we're presenting a product as the solution, where we identify the big problem that they're facing. We're going to really amplify the consequences of not solving it, tell a story related to the problem, include some testimonials from happy customers, and present our offer and ask for a response for the business. Those are always like good ones.
Awesome.
So go ahead.
Oh yeah, just be respectful of your time. I know we only asked for 60 minutes and you've given us so much more. Do you have any final tips for real estate agents using this? And also, if you let us know where we can follow you and
Yeah,
your
I
socials.
mean, yeah. So what I will say is, you can always follow me on Instagram, which is Turco_group. You can always connect with me on Facebook. My name's Joe Turco. I mean, I will, if you guys have it, give you a couple fun last 5 minutes, because I have a little bit of time. If I can find where, that's not good though. The Zoom bar disappeared. Oh, there it is. That, and then what I'll even do is, since you guys probably want to like copy and paste a bunch of all those prompts and look at some of the others, even dropped a link in there to the presentation using beautiful AI, one of my favorite AI presentation builders. So you guys can just copy and paste. James, I know you're excited because you were kind of scrambling for writing all that down. But the other ones that I really like are the picture promise proof push. That's really good with Instagram. The problem, agitate, and solve is really good. The strong, weak framework is really fun. The exclusive, inclusive is baller, is just like amazing. And then the 5 basic objections, as well as the solution savings social proof. Like those are, I mean, basically it's all of them, but like it's just good. And then as a bonus, since you guys, are going through looking at a couple different things, here are some just fun prompts that I like using. They're not necessarily crazy, but they are useful. If you are doing real estate stuff that you want to have some fun with, especially if you're doing YouTube videos, do something thinking outside of the box. Ask it to act as a travel guide and a local expert, especially now that we have access to the web very easily. Because if it's acting as a travel guide, it's acting as something interesting. And then guess what? You get to talk about it in your videos. Because I know a lot of people are into great music, but you might not be. You might have like the worst taste in music, in art, in museums, in food. You might be like one of those. I eat just hot dogs and ramen every day and never leave your house. It might be where there is some of the best spelunking caves in all of the country and you don't know it, but the entrance is to your backyard. So what I want you to do is not seek out always the things that are your interests, but are just interesting. And at the end, because I've included a bunch of prompts, including my favorite, texting campaigns, special note, Adam, you should be using those. A bunch of websites that a lot of people do know, but also some that people don't know. So Omni is probably my secret killer that nobody knows about and you should be using. So what I'll say is, I got 2 minutes. What else you got?
Dude, thanks for coming on. Powerful shit. I knew this was gonna be a good episode. Love the value that you bring. And yes, I'm using your prompts. I have been the day you showed them. And yeah, one quick bonus thing that I did notice with mine is that when I with the frameworks, I put them all into my second box on the custom instructions, and I asked ChatGPT to ask me which framework I like to use beforehand. And I've even found that if I don't know what framework I want to use for the specific content, I'll ask ChatGPT to refer to what framework would work best with that content for where I'm putting it. And it'll usually spit out a pretty good recommendation. So I want to kind of emphasize that we can also lean on ChatGPT as well to, help us figure out that route. And now full disclosure, it can be frustrating because sometimes I go in there and I'm like, hey, type in a prompt real quick. And it's like, oh, well, which framework do you want to use? And I'm like, crap, I don't think I wanted to use framework on this one. So I'll have to tell it to disregard it. But for the most part, it does seem to know pretty well what those frameworks are. So I've found out that even asking it, which one's best for this specific Facebook ad am I running, it'll usually go to problem, agitate, solve, but it is a good framework and it does work real well. So
and it does bring in the leads. So I mean, because AI gets so much traction, and especially if you're thinking about, I don't know, Kyle doing agent attraction. I mean, Adam, maybe you make a video about that, just kind of saying might have a couple agents' eyes on it.
Cool.
So you brought up Aomni or whatever that's called. I went to that and there's like a wait list. What does it do?
So basically, hold on, let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
Thanks, everyone. I appreciate it. I have an appointment I got to get to, but can't tell you how much I really did appreciate this, Joe. Thanks, Adam, for everything.
Well, of course.
Thanks, Don. Have a great day.
So basically, it's for research. So I'll just share my screen. So you can see I did YouTube script from the latest news about the Boston real estate market for luxury condos. And right now, because like I'm not using a paid account, I'm just using it very rarely because I've been busy with some other things, but it's still one of my favorite. Oh, ask anything. What are the latest opportunities in the AI market? Well, that's interesting. Do we want to do that one? Or hey, why don't I do one for you guys? What's something you'd want some info on? Hit me, Kyle. He was drinking, so I had to ask him.
Ooh. In a market that's considered difficult, what is the best way to convey a positive message to our audience who are looking to either buy or sell?
I don't, because this actually does like research like across the web. I don't know that there would be.
Oh, that's an
on that.
opinion.
Yeah.
It needs to be facts.
Yeah. So this isn't like AI. This is like research. This is like, hey, what is the latest opportunity for investing in, hair products for men?
What about
Gotcha.
what is the best way to streamline content creation as a realtor?
I'm going to just make it a little bit more specific. That way I put in the video space because it just makes it easier. So it says the AI agent is running on the server and may take a few minutes. You can safely leave. We'll notify you with an email when the research is done. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to spit out an entire almost like research report, and then it will have sources for it linked back to it. So let's see about, well, that's doing that. It's like you can see where I did this one. And it said, hey there, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're going to discuss the latest news about Boston real estate. So if you're interested in what's happening in this fascinating market, keep watching. Now let's dive in. The Boston luxury condo market has seen a bit of a dip in sales recently with a 24% annual and a 23.2% month-to-month drop. But don't worry. And basically, it will give you actual statistics about your market. So you could say like, hey, what are the statistics of real estate transactions in Colorado this year versus last year? And how is that projecting to change for next year? And it would do all the analysis, the research, and the number crunching and spit out stuff like that. So when you want to look like an informed person and not do all of that crazy number crunching, because that's not what I'm good at, you still look like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was like, I did the video like earlier this year, like what's the cost of living in Denver and stuff. And then so that just required a lot of research and making sure the numbers were right and stuff. So this would be like awesome for this type of videos.
Hell yeah.
Exactly. Little known AI website that, if used properly, will change your life. I have, been really busy with speaking, coaching my team, stuff like that. So I haven't obviously been using it a ton, but like it's baller.
Hell yeah.
Cool, guys.
Joe, thanks for coming on, brother.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. Full of
Thanks,
value.
Joe. Appreciate it.
We gotta go into the other one next time. So maybe here in a couple of episodes we can have you back on to keep going, man.
Heck yeah, man. All right. I'll see y'all later.